Okay, we're live again right here. City Local Girl. We're doing a broadcast talking about the Falcons' upcoming season. What to expect? What do you guys think is going to be happening this season? All right, now, 2019 season will take effect about 3 weeks. Am I correct?
Yes.
About 3 weeks at the Flower Branch. I got Ike on my left. I got Big Time on my right. We're going to break this thing down for you folks. We're going to talk about who we like and who we don't like. And we're not doing a prediction show tonight, but we kind of want to hit on what kind of season you think the Falcons have this year.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Ike, Big Time. Welcome to the Mic is Hot. Once again, let's kick it off. We're going to start off with you, Ike. What do you think about them Falcons this year, man?
Well, I told you I'm going to sit here and piggyback off on you gentlemen right here because I gave my little stink earlier in the season round draft period. I told you I wasn't really satisfied with the draft picks. I still believe they need a pass rusher.
With the Falcons?
Yeah, the Falcons. I mean, hey,
Big Time is quiet. He's just waiting on you to finish.
Hey, look. I told you that Beasley kid. I'm not sold on him. So I told you I kind of gave up. I mean, I am going to tell you this. I'm expecting big things out of the young fella.
Tack McKinley.
Tack. Yeah, I'm expecting.
So you don't like Vic?
Nah.
The coach likes Vic.
Yeah, but Vic needs somebody on the other side. Now, if Tack has a good season, which I'm hoping that he will, I think Vic kind of feeds off of him. But him being the veteran player now, he's been here for 5 years. Well, maybe 5.
I mean, he's done it before. You don't think he could do it again? I mean,
he did it one time when we had who we had
broke records.
Yeah, we had Freeney on the other side. See, you had somebody attacking the quarterback on the other side,
right?
And then what it is took some pressure off.
Right.
See, I just don't believe he's not one of the solo guys like like your Vaughn Middle,
right?
That could get your Cam Jordans that you can just go and do it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
He don't demand double team to me.
Well, it's funny how we open this up, and I'm gonna have to agree with Ike in some respect.
In some respect,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And because what has happened, they put a lot of weight on this guy to perform since he's been here, and he just hasn't done that.
Right
now, Dan Quinn and the ownership group did something this year that a lot of people thought it was a chance it was taken. They gave him a lot of money.
Right.
In fact, this man is making, from what I understand, $12 million a year.
What?
Yes. They signed him to an extension and really put the.
And they haven't signed Julio yet.
Well, they gonna get Julio. We'll get Julio taken care of. But the thing of it is, I think based on that, here's why I say slightly agree with Ike, because I think when Dan Quinn decided this kid is going to be under my wings and I'm gonna bring it out of him, I think Dan can do it. And when you gave the guy the amount of money you did, I know there's pressure on him. He's a soft-spoken guy, doesn't tend to respond too much, but I really believe he can have a great
type of guy. Go on, say it.
Yeah. I think he can really have a pretty good year, man. The thing that I am concerned about is when you start to move him in the linebacker position and start to move him in passes.
I agree.
You know what I mean? You gotta really select what he's good at.
Right.
Put that on him and force him to do just that.
I agree.
When you keep bouncing him around, you start to take a guy. This guy, to me, is not just simply that talented,
right?
Intellectually, to be able to do all of that. Now, Dan know football better than I. Dan Quinn is one of the, to me, a premier defensive coordinators in this game. So if Dan Quinn believe in what he can do, I'm gonna have to ride on that.
Okay, Ike, what say you?
Well,
do you believe that Big Beasley is going to be able to? Because the way I look at it is do or die for Dan Quinn. I mean, if Big Beasley don't turn out to be what he expected and he don't stand out in that defense, it could be his job.
Well, I'm going to say this: he getting the money. He basically said, "Show me the money." They showed you the money.
Show me the money.
So guess what? He gonna have to step up. I'm not believing in him until he proves me otherwise. I'm not believing him. He was about 5-6 years he been in the league. You gave me one good year.
Right.
I'm not. You listen. with your productivity and the money the money that you're getting dished out, it ain't adding up.
I agree. I mean, the Falcons. I mean, the fans deserve more. But I'm gonna Big Time and I have talked about it, and I've seen you guys on text talking back and forth about it. I'm gonna ride with Dan Quinn. I mean, he did pretty good the first couple of years here. Even though like I said, it could be his job if this defense don't turn out to be what he expected it to be. I'm going to ride out with him. I mean, I don't know what to expect this year. I will say that, I got a buddy of mine who's in Vegas this week, and he called me up, and I told him to put some money on the Falcons and win the division. So we're going to see what happens. Hey, hold on 1 second. So I do agree that Dan Quinn, we're going to give him a chance. This might be his last chance. We're going to give him a chance to see what he can prove this year with Vic Beasley and the defense. A lot of injuries last year, Ike. That proved that I believe that set us back in a lot of ways. We lost a lot of ball games due to the defense, and I think the Falcons operate felt the same way. Dan Quinn decided to take over the defense, and I'm gonna give him a fair shot. What do you think, Big Time?
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. Here's the thing, I going back to what Ike said earlier about the draft. I mean, I was disappointed when you look at what was out there, but I gotta trust management that they went out and decided to do what they felt was best, and that is secure to the best they could this offensive line. And not only did they do that, they did it for the future. And also they realized that this is an offensive-driven game. Secondly, they also realized that the defense is pretty much intact.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So what we got to do, we got to give this offensive line an opportunity to block for Matt Ryan,
Right.
and open up holes for Freeman.
Okay.
Guys, I'll say this until I'm proven wrong. The Atlanta Falcons defense, if they stick together and stay healthy, they can be a top 10 defense. There's no doubt. And then if you have that with a healthy quarterback, and as good as Matt Ryan is, if Freeman come back and run like he ran 2 years ago, I don't see why the Falcons can't be a top flight team. I just can't see why. You know what I mean? I just can't see it.
How you feel about that?
You got to get in the end zone.
I mean, do you think
it comes down to? Well, I don't want to jump around. I'm gonna go back to what you were saying as far as Dan Quinn. I mean, I believe since he's been there, personnel that he has, he's been doing the best he could with the defense personnel wise. We went through some injuries, but going on the flip side, my concern is more on the offense because we're not getting the ball in the end zone to me enough.
Right. I agree.
Don't get me wrong. Sometimes we might score a decent amount of points.
Right.
But then maybe we gave up too much on the defense.
Right.
But then when defense play good, offense disappears. It's like you can't get both of them clicking on both cylinders.
Well, what do you think the problem is? What do you think is causing us not to be able to for things not already together? I know we were talking earlier about Dan Quinn being more of a defensive coordinator and bringing in a new offensive coordinator. You think that's going to help change things on the offense?
Well, let me interject and say this. When you look at this offense, I agree with Ike again that in the last 2 years, guys, that in the 20-yard line, I've said this, in the last 2 years, we've been probably the best 20-20 ball club in the league.
Right.
That is 20 to the 20-yard line.
Right.
And when we get inside the red zone, we were lost.
Yep.
And I think that was due largely to Sarkisian. This guy didn't know what to do, didn't know how to use the Falcons in that key situations. You can't go down there just relying on Julio. Everybody's going to double and triple.
You remember
you know
we talked about this before on the mic, and I said when he came here, I didn't know anything about this guy, but I didn't have any trust in coming from a team that never coached a NFL, was never coached in the NFL before.
Right.
It's like the way I feel about some of these draft picks.
Well, when you look at Derek Cutter, based on what he was able to do in Tampa, and based on what he did when he was here with Atlanta, even though it's a different ball club.
Right.
I think in the red zone, we should do a lot better this year. I really believe it.
If we got a running game.
Because we now have a different blocking scheme. We would have
You got to stick to the run.
yeah,
That,
and I think they will because here's what they had. They had a run blocking scheme.
Right.
This year they're using a power blocking scheme.
And that goes back. Remember I told you a couple years ago we had that the offensive line coach. He came from a high school here in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
This guy didn't have any experience in coaching the offensive lineman in the NFL. So I go back and I regret, like, if you listen to some of the old episodes, we talked about that kind of stuff, man. And I think that affects the team. All these new guys coming back, I'm gonna be honest with you. All these guys that's coming back, we got coaches and offense coordinators that's been here before. I don't know. I can't say they're not going to get the job done. I mean, of course they did some good things when they were here before. But my thing is I always say is if they were that good, why did we get rid of them the first time? Right?
Let me answer.
I'm going to let Ed go and tackle that one.
Well, let me say it. When things doesn't work, change is necessary.
Right.
And when I say they don't work, that means you don't win.
Right.
With this man, we went to the NFC Championship game and lost to the San Francisco 49ers.
Right.
That was his third year here. Change was needed. It wasn't not so much the OC. It was Mike Smith needed to be changed.
Right.
But you couldn't get rid of Mike Smith after a 13-3 season and losing in the NFC Championship game.
Right.
So don't say we got rid of him because we wasn't good enough. You got to have the player personnel. If you tell me a team in this league right now, when you look at top to bottom, the Falcons, talent-wise, is probably in the top 10 talent-wise.
Right.
They got the players. So you got to say it's on the sideline now. Now, whether this guy's going to come in here with Dan Quinn and do what they need him to do in 1 year, I don't know. But you got to make changes if it ain't working.
Right.
Don't force something that doesn't fit.
But this year, after last year, I mean, people were disappointed. Even I do believe the owner was even disappointed. And I think this year is a do or die year for the head coach. After what they did his second year here, and last year he just stuck the thing up. So I believe if this team don't make the playoffs this year, then it might be bye Dan Quinn.
All right, what do you think? What do you think should be the grounds for Dan Quinn getting fired?
Well, really, I just think we need to capitalize on some things. First of all, a couple of things and you have to blame Dan Quinn on certain things. I don't believe in all this switching, like offense. When we have a running back in, and then after 5-6 plays he comes out.
Right.
I mean, your better running backs in the league throughout this whole NFL, they develop a rhythm. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what, especially when they get paid the big bucks.
Right.
I think that messes Freeman up. To be quite frankly, Freeman comes in there, he runs 5 plays, he goes run to the sideline.
Right.
Then comes in, 1 play, get hurt.
I think what Dan is trying to do is I think he's trying to keep the players fresh. I mean, I think he's trying to get these guys to play 4 quarters because most time if you overplay a player, it's not like basketball. If you play him too much, by the 4th quarter he's tired. Even though he can gain a lot of yards,
Well, I disagree.
But I think what needs to happen instead of just leave. I agree with you. Leave him in the ball game, but mix it up. Run and throw. Don't just keep running keep running the same player because eventually you keep running the player that the opponent's going to figure out what you're doing and going to stop you.
Well, but look at this. Look at people like Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Pittsburgh, even Connors. You look at the Chargers when you look like Gordon. You look at New York when you look at Barkley.
Right.
You look at Dallas when you look at Elliott. You have to, and I'm just talking about the running game. You have to establish the running game, meaning that when Freeman's tired, guess what? He raises his hand, he comes out the game,
right.
And then the next man steps up, and that's how it should be. Now, the only thing about it, since Freeman is a 3-down running back, he is a 3-down running back. Well, we can switch it up because maybe we might even pass 3 times with Freeman in there.
Right.
But the thing about it, he's a threat with the ball, away from him because he already established you got to keep your eyes on him.
Right.
But
but that's all those injuries. You think he's gonna be able to come back and come back from where he was. I mean, before he had Coleman. We had Freeman and Coleman to go to. Now Coleman's not here. I mean, do you think Ito's going to be able to take up that slack?
Listen, the way the NFL goes nowadays, running backs are almost the most easiest thing to find now.
Right.
But what I'm sitting there saying, you have to let them establish a rhythm.
Right.
No matter who they do. Man, we can start Edo Smith. You know, my point is that you start him, he is your primary running back.
Right.
Okay, and then look, it makes it when we establish a running back. Guess what? When you have a quarterback that passes the ball like Matt, then guess what? They can't be, they got to play Julio 1-on-1,
right?
Or they got to play, the other wide receivers 1-on-1. But this way, you don't really get established because the Falcons' play card, it seems like it's predictable.
Yeah, well, I agree with you in the sense when you use the word rhythm, and that's the operative word because, he does need to get his rhythm, but you can't pound him because he's a small guy, and you got to save him.
He's not that small.
Well, he's, compared to running backs in this game, he's
200 pounds. He's not that small.
Yeah, but still, I think, well, listen, I'm not arguing with you about the size. I'm just threw that in as probably why the Derek Cutter and maybe was using him, but look what happened. He got hurt, and that's atypical. The shelf life of a NFL running back is 5 years or less. So I think the key again is rhythm, and I think Derek Cutter will allow him to get the rhythm. Right. You can't have Matt Ryan throwing the ball 40 and 50 times a game and expect them to be effective. Right. You know what I mean? Even though he has Julio and other receivers, the Falcons, you got to mix it up. Wow. But accent. That's what I was telling Frank. The success got to come in that running game. On offense, it's not about passes and Atlanta love the Julio. It's about being consistent.
Right.
With running the ball, let the run set up the pass. Uh-huh. And I think that I predict that this season's success offensively is going to be based on what Freeman does. If Freeman can come back to the Freeman that we've known him to be, and that offensive line, line got to form a unity and a cohesiveness that allows them to block consistently throughout the year.
Right.
One of the things that we were able to do luckily and successfully during the Super Bowl year, we had all our offense to stay together pretty much the whole season.
Right.
The only time we had a problem was in the Super Bowl, the game before the Super Bowl. The center got hurt.
Right.
He played the actual play. Yeah, he played the Super Bowl game with a broken fibula.
Right.
And the Falcons still, obviously should have won, but I just feel good about it. I feel good about this season. I keep hearing people talk about our biggest threat, which is in our division. It's not the biggest threat in the conference. Is the New Orleans Saints.
Right.
But in the conference, we got a lot of difficult teams to overcome. We got to go. Philly is a serious threat. The Cowboys is a serious threat. The L.A. Rams is a serious threat. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The Carolina Panthers is still a threat. You see what I'm saying? You got the Chicago Bears. They're a serious threat.
Right.
Oh my goodness. It's a lot that we got to go up against. So Dan understand that if I get that defense to hold them teams at bay, if they can hold teams at bay, we got a chance.
And that's where we are. And if you ask me, we spoke about this before. I think last year we could have probably scored some more points, but the offense wasn't terrible. I mean, we just couldn't stop nobody.
That's right.
I mean, we couldn't stop teams. But like speaking of the first game of the season next year, we're playing the Philadelphia Eagles. That's your team. What do you think about that? You think the Falcons?
It's the second game of the season. We played Minnesota first.
Minnesota, okay. The second game of the season. What do you think about that game? You think the Falcons have a chance to? Because I was looking at the odds, and the Philadelphia Eagles look pretty good. I mean, their odds for them winning the division or going to Super Bowls are much better than what the Falcons have right now.
Well, the Eagles they have a lot of returners. They made some a few changes, but not no big changes. So
you can take that off if you want to.
So the core of their defense and their offense is still there. They established their offensive line. Now the only thing is going to be a challenge for them. They're going to have a new running back.
Right.
But with the Eagles, and you'll probably see what I mean. They're not trying to mix their running game up.
Right.
They're trying to find one running back to establish their run, and then let their quarterback spread it out. And I believe that's that will cause a problem with the Falcons defense, which the Falcons do. They're going to come back full stride with their primary key defensive players back. So this is going to be a playoff type atmosphere.
You think so?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Sunday night. It's going to be a Sunday night game. The first Sunday night game.
Okay.
I don't think of the year, but be the second one. It'll be the second Falcons game.
First home game.
First home game.
Right.
It's going to be a very cramped environment.
Wow.
And I think the Falcons have a very good chance to start off strong. And here's what I like about it as well. Our schedule is such that we don't play our divisions teams till late in the year. So we got a chance to really get things in order prior to that time. But anyway, we're gonna we don't get a chance. We don't get a chance to play our division guys till late in the year.
Right.
And that can be good and bad. I think it's better because you would at least establish what you are as a team.
Well,
and I'm hopeful that by that time there's some injuries that could have hopefully occurred on the other teams. And I'm not wishing injuries for us to beat a team.
You're exactly right, and I think that's a good thing that as the season progresses, later in the season, it's not like you can in the past years you can kind of predict early in the season where things are going. This year it's going to be a tight race all the way down to the end because our season, we're playing New Orleans I think twice in the same month or 2-3 weeks apart.
Yeah, in fact, let me add on Thanksgiving night. This Thanksgiving night we play the Saints in the Benz, so they're going to come to Atlanta this year on Thanksgiving night.
And 2 weeks later we go to New Orleans.
So that'll be a great chance for us to set the record with them. Regardless of where we play or who we play, we got to play the game that we should play.
One game at a time. One game at a time.
Yes, indeed. And so I'm looking forward to this year. I just told Dennis that hopefully, if everything works out, we can go up to one of the open practices. They only have 8 this year, and they said the Falcons are one of the few teams that have such few open practices.
Right.
Which means they are serious about trying to get this right. They're not trying to grandstand. That Hall of Fame game is a difficult game in the sense that it's an extra preseason game.
Right.
But it's going to be helpful because the Falcons will get another extra week to look at the young guys.
Usually the Hall of Fame game is a little bit more physical because I think they started to play a little bit longer. And I think it'll be a good look at the Falcons to kind of give us an idea what direction we're going in because I can't really make any predictions right now. I mean, I hope and I think based on what I've seen so far that they're going to have a pretty good season. But,
Well, the Hall of Fame game, I got to correct you on that. The Hall of Fame game is going to be just like a first game.
Really?
But
don't the starters play longer in that game?
But
no,
it's a preseason game, right?
No, yeah, it's a preseason game. But what I'm trying to say, that Matt is not going to play a lot in that game.
Okay.
Because it's a preseason game, it's a first game. You don't want everybody coming out there playing. It's a Hall of Fame game. That game is really tribute
But each team want to win the game, right?
No. It's tribute to the Hall of Fame players.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So basically, trust me, the young, you get to see the young kids just like you did the first and second game. They're gonna stay on schedule.
Right.
About their third game, then Matt is gonna probably play the whole first half.
Right.
All your starters gonna play the whole first half. And because let's think about it, do you really want your starters come in the Hall of Fame game when they haven't practiced that long, playing a lot of that game?
Well, both teams are in the same position. I mean,
no. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you want to mess up both of these teams,
Right.
And you want to play your starters that just start practicing,
Right.
and then they start leading key players.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
no,
Man, we don't want to go that route.
You're right. And I don't want the Falcons to go into preseason with this idea that we so good and we ain't got to do nothing with none of our guys. And,
Right.
Let's let guy. Now, if you got a guy injured and he's a little older guy,
Right.
then you need to really protect him. Especially your key guys that know the offense. But all these guys sitting on the sideline, I remember last season the Falcons didn't even play a lot of that. You know what I mean? You were complaining
Right.
throughout the preseason. The Falcons simply wasn't.
They didn't. To me, they wasn't up to games. They wasn't game ready. And what I call when they go out there and there's certain players, they're holding out players, or they playing for Like for example, I seen the starting offense, or the quarterback Matt Ryan or Julio Jones should have played a little bit more in some games instead of just putting them out there.
But here's how it goes. This is history, and this is throughout the NFL. It ain't just the Falcons. What it is called playing smart football. The first game, which is going to be a Hall of Fame game,
Right.
Matt is going to probably play 2 series.
Okay.
That's it. It's the first game. They just got out there. You don't want nobody. If you've been taking the summer off,
Right.
you've been working out, and you come out there and you pull a hamstring because you ain't fully in shape.
Right.
You know,
They're not game ready yet.
They ain't game shape. And then your second game, then they play a little longer.
Right.
The third game is a dress rehearsal.
Right.
The fourth game, no.
Right.
Starters don't play.
Right.
Now the only people play in that fourth game are the people that's trying to make the team.
Exactly.
What about a 5th game that they're going to have this year?
Well, see, now the Falcons are in unusual waters because they haven't played a Hall of Fame game
Right.
for some time. So, but me,
I think different. Like, I think it's a Hall of Fame game. All the Hall of Famers are going to be there, and these guys, both teams want to win. I don't think it's going to be just a regular. I don't think. I hear you, but I just don't think.
Okay, that's not smart.
I know,
you
but
messing up your investment right there.
Okay, wait, hold on. What I'm saying is that you might not play all your starters, but at the same time, the coach want to win this game. You don't want to lose this game.
Hold on. Truthfully, the coach want to win every preseason game.
Nah, not really.
Yes, they do. No. Listen, players want to win. Now, let me tell you how. Let's think about this for a minute. Game 4, when none of the stars are playing, the fourth game.
Right.
Why you see when a team is winning, you see all the starters doing what? Yeah, high five when one of these little young rookie guys that's not going to even make the team score.
Right.
Because come on, cause they're trying to. Winning is winning.
Right.
Once it's in your blood, but you ain't trying to hear. I mean, I don't care if it's a preseason. We still want to win.
Right.
Matter of fact, some starters don't like to get taken out, and the coach said, "Whoa, no. You ain't playing the whole game, man.
Right.
You know, I can't afford you being injured,
Yeah.
but they want to come back out there.
Yeah, I agree with Ike because, when the Falcons went last year like 1-4, 1-3, or 0-4, they were downplaying those losses in preseason like they just preseason.
Right, and they didn't care if they won or lost. They just wanted to take a look at some guys.
Yeah, you don't want to put all the hype on a win.
Right.
But like Ike said, you want to win because winning start momentum. You know what I mean? You don't want to go in there. Now, and if the game came down close, you played good, or you came down close and you lost on a field goal or one play, and you say, okay, but you still want to go and win. You want to get that winning tradition.
Right.
The Falcons need to get everything as much as they can, as right as they can, as early as they can.
Right.
And I need to see what they're going to do when it comes to coming together as a team. But hey, guys.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap this thing up, guys. I mean, it's been great, and like I said, we're gonna do half an hour show today. And what we're gonna do, this ain't gonna be tomorrow. Well, I ain't gonna give it time. We're gonna get next time we get back together. We're gonna get a little more in depth, and hopefully we can get do a prediction, if it's not a prediction show, that what we think is gonna happen in the NFL this upcoming season. Something on me again? We outside. Well, thanks, folks. Again, Ike on my left. Big Time's on my right. You just heard the Mic is Hot live again. And we'll talk to you guys next time on the Mic is Hot. Say goodbye.
Hey, this is Ike on the mic.
Big Time is out.
He's out. We out of here.